Good evening and welcome to tonight's International Basketball League matchup between the 3-2 Snohomish County Explosion and the 1-1 Jazz of Tacoma. Good evening, Jay Tuss from the Monroe Sports Arena, and the Explosion, well, they're coming off a record-setting performance. However, it's one you won't hear them bragging about anytime soon. For the first time in the two-year history of the franchise, they've lost back-to-back games. Last Saturday, they suffered the loss to the Slam, 115-108, and then last night in their first road game of the season, they fell to the Vancouver Volcanoes, 128-120. Now that was a close game, and the Explosion even led in the fourth quarter, 99-98. The loss despite the effort of newcomer Jermaine Blackburn. He had 35 points in his debut. Also, Jamal Miller chipped in with 25 points of his own, 9 assists as well. MIA in that game was the Explosion's leading scorer, Donald Watts. He's expected to be back tonight, though, and in the starting lineup. As for the Jazz of Tacoma, just 5-16 last year. However, they do return 5 of their leading scorers, and a new season always brings new optimism. So with that, what we can expect out of the Jazz tonight? Well, we caught up with head coach Randy Redwine to discuss that, as well as the new guy, Jermaine Blackburn, and how they expect to recover from playing last night. All right, Coach Randy Redwine with us now. Coach, on a 2-game losing streak, but this is the team you beat 4 times last year. Is there much different about this team, or do you expect the same out of the Jazz?
Well, they're going to be competitive. Like I told you a couple of games ago, everybody's out to knock you off when you are the reigning Western Conference champion. We just got to find a key to stop this bleeding, and hopefully tonight is tonight.
One of those keys might be the newcomer last night, 35 points in his debut.
Well, basketball is a team sport, so it's going to take more than his 35, so we're going to need something from everyone. One thing I'd like to add, though, we did, not an excuse, but we did not have Donald Watts last night, so that's 20 points right there. So, you know, we hope to be in better shape tonight.
Are you guys thinking about more of the 2-game losing streak right now, or is a bigger challenge coming off playing back-to-back nights for the first time this year?
Well, I don't want to have excuses, but, you know, back-to-back nights is something new for some of these guys. And you'll see I'm going to see if fatigue sets in or if they got the energy to go back-to-back nights, you know. Because once we get into the playoffs, if we do, we're going to be playing back-to-back nights.
Coach, something else I heard that you might have given the boys a little bit of extra pep talk before tonight's game.
Most definitely. Most definitely. This is, if there ever was a must-win game, this is a must-win game.
We'll see if Redwine's talk inspires the boys and puts an end to this 2-game losing streak. Starting lineups coming up next. You're watching Explosion Basketball on Comcast On Demand. Back at the Monroe Sports Arena, just moments away from tip-off, but tonight's starting lineups for the visitors, the Jazz of Tacoma, starting in the backcourt at the point guard, number 11, Anton Jones. He is averaging 20 points per game through 2 games this year. Joining him as well is going to be number 21, Ashley Robinson. He's a 6-foot guard out of Puget Sound. Also in the backcourt, a 3-guard starting lineup for the Jazz, number 30, Josh Barsh. And in the front court, number 24, Lorenzo Rollins, a 6'6" wingman out of Gonzaga, had 3 points in the first game of the season versus the USA All-Stars, responded with 15 last night, rounding out the starting 5 for the Jazz, number 22, Marlon Bailey, out of Edmond CC. Over to the hometown team, the Snohomish County Explosion. In the backcourt, starting at point guard, number 1, Jamal Miller. Miller, kicked out of last Saturday's game, responded by scoring 25 points, also dishing out 9 assists last night versus the Volcanoes. In the backcourt with him, getting his first start of the season, number 32, Chris Keller. Done a great job coming off the bench this year for the Explosion. Coach Redwine going to give him a go in the starting lineup tonight, though. Also a 3-guard starting lineup for the Explosion. Number 20, Jermaine Blackburn, 6'7" guard, new to the team, just picked up this week. He scored 35 points again last night in his debut. Moving to the front court, number 11, Justin James. He scored in double figures the last 3 games. Rounding out the starting 5, double nickel himself. Coming in with 8 points per game this year, almost 6 rebounds, David White. getting set to tip off tonight's action between the Snohomish County Explosion and the Jazz of Tacoma tonight. The Jazz of Tacoma will be in the green. They're led by head coach Deborah Watson. For the Explosion, they'll be in the whites. And of course, they're led by head coach Randy Redwine, 20-7 in his 2-year stint with the Explosion. However, first time in history that the Explosion have lost back-to-back games, as we mentioned earlier. On the bench, he's joined by Michael Moss, the assistant head coach in his 2nd year. And then Dwight Edwards, he's in his 1st year. He's an assistant coach as well. Center court getting ready to tip. David White for the Explosion. Looks like it's going to be Jawan Winesberry for Tacoma. White comes away with the tip and Miller possesses. Miller and the Explosion will be shooting at the hoop to the right. Cross-court pass, Miller has it now. James top of the key, passes it off to Blackburn. Blackburn dribbling to his left. Gonna receive the pass, lets a 3 go. Misses though. White with the offensive rebound, kicks it out to the top of the key. Keller for 3, misses. Another offensive rebound for the Explosion. Had 22 last night. Almost half their rebounds, total rebounds, came on the offensive end. Can't come away with the bucket here though. Tacoma now their first possession on offense. Swinging around, top of the key. Rollins has it, misses a 3, rebound Blackburn. Blackburn pushing in transition. Miller gonna pull up this time now and connects. 3-point basket for Miller. First 2 games of the season, they look to Miller to get going quick. Usually he's a pretty hot starter, fast starter that is, trying to do it tonight as the Explosion look for an answer to this 2-game losing streak. James gets the rebound, throws it up to Miller. Miller dribbling with it now. Gonna come to center court. Finds Blackburn. Blackburn gonna get an open look right here and he hits. Blackburn taking advantage of the space that Tacoma gives on the defensive end. Wide open look at a 3. He starts off where he left last night. Again, 35 in his debut. 20-foot jumper there attempted by number 34. That looked like Dante Harris. He misses though. Ball goes out of bounds. I believe that went off a Tacoma player, as it did. Possession's gonna stay with the Explosion. 6-0 here, Explosion lead. 1:30 in. Miller going to the hole, looking to penetrate. Instead, ball ends up in the hands of Lorenzo Rollins for Tacoma. Bailey with it now, going up, looking for Harris. Harris gonna back down Blackburn. Blackburn, hand in the face. Harris tries a fadeaway jumper. Good defense there by Blackburn. Nice start to the game here for the Explosion. They lead 6-0, just under 2 minutes into this one. Blackburn dribbling baseline. Keller comes to help. Keller dribbling to his left now and leaves it for Miller. Miller driving to his right, up and under move. Good move there by Miller, excuse me. As number 11, Antoine Jones commits the foul for the Jazz. Nobody better at the free throw line on the Explosion than Miller this year. Now 25 of 26, over 96% from the free throw stripe early this season. Second free throw attempt is true. 5 points for Miller. Jazz with the ball, they trail 8-0, 9:34 to go first quarter of play. Bailey has it now, guarded by Keller. He's gonna try to get on the scoreboard. Misses long though. White with the rebound, hands it off to Miller. Tacoma settling for a lot of outside shots here in the first quarter. Not a lot of passing. Gonna have to try to find a rhythm for them on offense. Keller this time, he's on offense now. He leaves a jumper short. White goes for the rebound. A little too much contact over the back. First foul on White. Talking with Coach Randy Redwine in the pregame. Patel very focused tonight, called this game a must-win. Still early in the season, They sit 3-2. Won their first 3 games of the season, lost their last 2. Down low, hoop in the harm. Goes in the way of Dante Harris. He gets the bucket.
It's good by Dante Harris, the foul.
As the Jazz finally get on the scoreboard.